As Fu spun around in his little swivel chair in the middle of the control room, he seemed highly excited. This much Madara could tell as he walked into the room. "You seem happy," he said as he watched. "I'm finally over my funk," he said. "I'm going to begin my experiments again, and I'm cooking up one that's going to blow the world away," he said with a sense of pride. "I do hope you don't mean literally," Madara said with a sly smile, as though he cared when he obviously didn't. Fu looked over at Madara. "That's still to be decided." He pulled his chair closer to the monitor and brought up a video of Kushina laying upon the table preparing to give birth. As Madara looked at it, he scoffed and rolled his eyes. "This same opening?" he asked. Fu nodded. "This is the beginning of Naruto's story. You think I wouldn't start here?" "What did you do this time?" Madara asked. "A little gene editing," he said. This grabbed Madara's attention. "Gene editing?" Fu nodded. "A little gift to our friend here. Some genetics from a very special source," he said. "And what is that source?" "You're part Saiyan now through Jinchurikism, correct? Surely you've been studying them, right? Have you come across any texts about the Legendary Super Saiyan? Yamoshi, the Legendary Super Saiyan of Sadala. The first Super Saiyan, and the first Super Saiyan God," he said. "Wrong. There's more than one Saiyan of Legend. The title is given to only a select few genetically capable Saiyans," he said. "There's another legend after Yamoshi." "Broly, the wild man of Vampa?" Madara asked. "Wrong again, buddy," Fu said. Madara's eyes widened. "You don't mean that Broly?" Fu looked back nefariously. "After the fall of new Planet Vegeta, a wounded Broly crash-landed in the northern area of the Earth 4032 Green 877, where he entered a short 7-year coma, only awakening every so often to inspire the legend of a vengeful mountain god desiring human sacrifice. The good thing about the location where he rests is that it slowed his metabolism, meaning he didn't even notice I was there. I collected a little blood and voila! I have the angriest DNA sequence you've ever seen. Seriously, his sequence looked like a frowny face." Madara looked up. "And you gave his genes to this Naruto," he said. Fu nodded. "I felt like seeing what he might do. Naruto may have been able to control the Nine Tails and tackle its hate, but what happens when he is the monster itself? A beast of instinct, with only the desire to destroy." Madara pulled up a chair. Fu smiled. "Interested, are we?" Madara nodded. "I want to know how this is going to turn out." "Then how about we get it started? Experiment begin." Fu pressed the play button. "Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. It was that same night in October you're all familiar with, but things were a little different. As Kushina lay there on the table, her face was not how it was expected to be. Her face displayed a terror on it as she was giving birth, as if in some way she knew something wasn't right. She said as much. "Minato, something's wrong with the baby," she said. "What is it?" Minato asked. "I don't know. I sense something. Even the Nine Tails is cowering inside of me. The Nine Tails never cowers." Minato began to further question her. "What does it mean?" Kushina couldn't answer. She didn't know what it was, nor did she have the time to. She began to scream as she tried to push the baby out. Biwako was there to catch it. "There's so much blood," Biwako said. "She's hemorrhaging," she called back. "Get a transfusion set up and ready some oxytocin and misoprostol." The nurses began to hurry about. Minato was in shock. "Keep your hands on the seal," Biwako shouted. Minato then realized he had stopped sealing the beast. He put his hands back on the seal only to feel the Nine Tails immediately buck against it. "Let me out," it shouted, but its demand was not in anger, it was in fear. "What's going on?" Minato questioned within himself. "I see a head," Biwako said. "Blonde, spiky hair, just like Daddy," Biwako said in an overly excited way in an attempt to get Minato and Kushina to focus on the new child instead of the life-threatening situation Kushina was now in. Biwako's smile began to fade as Minato noticed. "What's wrong?" he asked. I thought its hair was blonde," Biwako said. Suddenly, there was something not unlike a plasma bolt. It struck Biwako and sent her flying against the wall. "Biwako!" Minato called out. She attempted to stand again, but there was a hole clean through her, bleeding profusely. "Minato!" Kushina cried out in terror. The other nurses began to run away from the room. "Wait! Come back and help us!" Minato said. "What have we given birth to?" he questioned. "Minato, something's wrong with our son," Kushina called out. "Something's wrong with him. He's going to kill us. We need to get out of here." "No, I'm not leaving our child," Minato said as he came around to grab the child. But a moment later, he saw the child, and his face ran cold. Putting his hand on Kushina, he used the flying Raijin to teleport them to their secret safe house. Holding Kushina on the ground, she was crying. "What's going on? What's wrong with our son?" she said. Minato shook his head in confusion. "I don't know." "What did you see?" she asked. "I saw something not human." "A demon?" she asked. It could have been. Our child's hair was glowing. His skin was pale. His eyes were open, but they were just two empty white orbs. Yet I could almost see into them. There was strong emotion in there. An anger surpassing anger. Hatred. Kushina began to cry. "Why did this happen?" she asked. Minato picked Kushina up and laid her in the bed. She was still bleeding and Minato didn't know how to help her. "I'm going to go to the hospital. Get more doctors and bring them here. Try to stay calm," he said. He turned to leave, but before he did, Kushina grabbed his arm. "Please, Minato. I don't know what's wrong with Naruto, but he's just a baby. Save him." Minato nodded. "I promise." Minato teleported to the hospital. There he located a couple doctors and began to explain the situation, save for the demon child part. The doctors began scrambling to get what they needed, from catheters to medication to all manner of tools they might need to staunch the bleeding. But as Minato waited for them, the power went out. He looked around in confusion as the sound of an explosion echoed in just a second later. Minato looked out the window and saw a bright green light hovering in the sky. "What is that?" one of the doctors asked. "Just get your tools," Minato replied. The doctors finished grabbing their tools and prepared to leave. Minato would then grab them and teleport back to the safe house where Kushina was waiting. The doctors getting to her began to speak. "She's going into shock. Get her on a transfusion," the head doctor said. "Where's the child?" the doctor asked. Minato's eyes were turned up toward the ceiling as the building shook. "Just do your job and let me worry about that." The doctors knew something was fishy, but you don't argue with the Hokage, so the doctors and nurses continued to work. Minato grabbed his Hokage's cloak and put it over his shoulders. Kushina reached out and grabbed the cloak to tug. Minato looked back. Kushina, weak and almost out of it, spoke. "Bring him back," she said. Minato nodded. "I will." Kushina let him go. Minato teleported back to the Hokage's office. Looking out the window, he saw the child that was his own glowing and floating through the air, coming in his direction. Minato had never sensed a power as potent as this. This power was like that of a tailed beast, or greater. How something like this could even be born was a question to him. Making it to the roof of the Hokage's office, he saw how the village being attacked was now starting to retaliate against Naruto. Minato's heart felt like it might stop as he saw kunai and paper bombs being thrown. But these tools did nothing but provoke Naruto, causing him to retaliate against them once again. Entire squads were destroyed by single energy blasts. The people below him didn't know what they were looking at. Seeing a glowing baby with such power, many exclaimed it to be an angel. A cherub like those in the frescoes found in the most cultured places around the world. The battle felt helpless. The same things that so normally could be used to push back a tailed beast seemed to have no effect on this child. None could truly grasp the depths of Naruto's power. Even Minato couldn't, but he knew he had to do something about it. "Naruto!" Minato called out. The child looked to the man who was its father and growled at him. It attempted to release a thick energy beam from its mouth, but Minato used his flying Raijin to teleport the blast to a distant mountain, blowing it away and permanently altering the landscape. Minato knew he had to get close to Naruto. He couldn't let Naruto do this. Minato took out a kunai and threw it toward Naruto, not to hit him, but to get it close to him. As the kunai whizzed by Naruto's head, Minato teleported to it, grabbed Naruto midair, and then teleported to a location away from this one, back to the location of their safe out. Teleporting in, Minato saw the doctors still working on Kushina. They stopped and looked back for a moment to see Minato wrestling with a screaming baby, whose hair gave off an otherworldly glow. Minato couldn't keep control over it. The child began to build up an energy within itself as though it might self-destruct. Minato let go and ran to cover Kushina with his body. The doctors heroically jumped on top of Minato and Kushina as the child let loose a blaster meteor-style attack that blew the house to pieces. Minato and Kushina went flying as the doctors absorbed most of the attack, and each were killed. Minato tried to cushion Kushina's fall. He managed to get up and looked back at the child floating there, its hair a bright emerald green, its eyes blank, its skin pale as death. There were tears in the child's eyes as it seemed to be whimpering in its rage. Minato came to realize that his son was in pain. Whatever this strange power was, the level of strain it put on the body was so much that the babe's body could hardly handle it. Minato began to draw closer to it, walking slowly toward it. He tried to call out to it gently, like a playful father. "Naruto," he said with a smile. The baby threw a green energy blast that went to the side of Minato and exploded, as if the child were instinctively firing a warning shot. Minato was not threatened by it. He kept coming closer. "Naruto," he said again. The child fired again and missed. Minato did not stop his approach. As he drew closer to the child, he reached out and gently plucked it out of the air, bringing it into his bosom. The child's skin was sensitive, and with the mixture of power and his own father's hands, there was pain. In anger, it fired a blast clean through Minato's chest. Minato was shocked, but not surprised. Hitting his knees, he pulled the child away from him. Looking down at it, he realized that maybe he had hurt it more instead of less. And so, as the child cried in his arms, he whispered his love toward it. He took his hand and placed it on the baby's stomach, planting an 8-trigram seal, adding an additional 5-element seal to strengthen the seal of the child's power. In doing so, Naruto's emerald hair returned to a natural blonde like his father's as it stopped flowing upward. The child coughed into a cry so small that it sounded like a squeaky toy. Minato had enough time to then check on his own wound. Completely pierced through and bleeding, he knew this wasn't good. Looking back, he saw Kushina. She was no longer bleeding because there wasn't anything left in her to bleed. She was gone. The doctors were gone, and Minato was in the middle of nowhere in critical condition. This had to be the end. Naruto had killed his own parents, but that was okay. He didn't mean to, and Minato still loved him regardless. Minato pulled off his haori and wrapped Naruto up in it, and as he lay down in the grass with his child, he coddled him and held him close until the pain dulled and the call of the beyond pulled his soul through to the other side. Naruto was alone, self-orphaned. He cried in the night. "Well, that was depressing," Fu said as he paused the playback. "What did you expect? You didn't just give him the genes of any legendary Super Saiyan. You gave him the genes from the most unstable Super Saiyan of all. That Broly was a mutant to end all mutants, and was the perfect storm of genetic and mental illness. Whatever genes you transferred over brought some of that crazy with it. Now, just like Broly, Naruto is orphaned by his own hands," Madara said. "You almost sound disappointed," Fu said. Madara crossed his arms. "This killing was senseless and cruel. This was the kind of death I fought actively to avoid," Madara said. "And now?" Fu asked. Madara had no answer. Things had changed, as had his opinions due to these new experiences he had forged, and despite everything, he couldn't lie. He was affected by the Saiyan biology of Yamoshi that now altered him on a spiritual level. A part of him craved to see more blood and death, but a sense of righteousness existed as well that told Madara that this was tragic. It left a bad taste in his mouth, more so than it probably would have in the past. Now it feels worse. Fu admitted that this was tragic, but it didn't mean anything about Naruto as a person. You know, Naruto did kill his own family, but he was only an hour old, and he was in a berserk state to boot. He's not the only hero to do this. Even Goku, the kindest Saiyan since Yamoshi, killed his own family. Grandpa Gohan was squished into a tiny pancake by Goku in a berserk form like this. Yeah, well, it seems like this experiment is over, Madara said. With the 8 trigrams and the 5 elements on top, I doubt there's a stronger seal in the world. I surmise that Naruto will live a rather normal life. Fu looked to Madara with a grin. How much you want to bet that you're wrong? Madara began to smile himself. How much are you willing to wager? As the years went on, Naruto continued to live. The events of that night were still on everyone's mind. It was so dangerous and caused so much death. Yet at the same time, what actually happened was so unexpected that nobody knew what to make of it. There had been rumors, particularly by a group of nurses who claimed to have delivered the demon child, as they called it, claiming that it was Naruto who had done this to them. And so Naruto got a bit of a reputation about him. There was no proof it actually was Naruto, of course, so it's not like his life was so much more different, but all the same, rumors existed. Nobody could substantiate them though, save for Hiruzen, who was the one who found Naruto wrapped up in the haori of his father, crying, covered in blood that was not his own. What Naruto really was remained a mystery, as they did all manner of experimentation to try and figure it out, but nothing came up. They ran genetic scans of Naruto and found nothing to separate him from other humans, save that he had a few unidentifiable genetic markers, as well as what seemed to be a few genetic markers only present in some primates. But other than that, they couldn't understand what had caused Naruto to become what he was, and simply assumed it was the inclusion of some strange mutation. Naruto began to grow, and as he did, he remained quite docile for the most part. He never displayed much personality. He never really smiled or laughed, but he also never really cried or whined about anything. He seemed to almost lack a personality, save for the times when he could be found doing something good for someone in need. On those occasions, Naruto might offer a gentle smile, but there were also times when Hiruzen had found Naruto doing something else. He once found Naruto hovering over a cat having a seizure, just staring at it. Hiruzen didn't know what to make of this, but he knew it was frightening. Naruto was always a very big eater, and would always put away more food than was logically acceptable for him to eat at once, yet somehow he finished it all. But more than that, he never seemed to put on any weight. He ate on par with the Akamichi clan, yet never gained a pound of fat. He was unnaturally muscular for someone his age, possessing definable definition even before turning 6. He seemed to enjoy training quite a bit, lifting weights, which Hiruzen had assumed was connected to his musculature. Maybe he had just been training for quite some time, which had resulted in this, but the level of strength Naruto displayed was not proportionate to the build he possessed. There were even times where Hiruzen spotted Naruto hustling grown men out of money in arm wrestling competitions. Naruto was naturally skilled to a degree unseen in generations. Hiruzen had seen many naturally gifted shinobi come and go. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Orochimaru, Minato, Shisui, Itachi, and even further back to closer to the era of the first Hokage. Despite having seen all of these things, he could not compare any of them to Naruto. Naruto had a natural skill and strength that was wild and untrained. All of this together, from the physical aspects to how Naruto caused so much destruction at birth, caused Hiruzen to believe that Naruto might have been something rare. Something that only appeared once in a select millennia, or perhaps had never existed before, period. Hiruzen tried to offer Naruto proper growth on an emotional level, considering he had skill that would make a proper shinobi, but he feared that power that Naruto might never be able to control. And though it was sealed, something in the back of Hiruzen's head made him question if the seal Minato had put on the child could hold back this much power. Hiruzen had felt tailed beasts, but he never felt the power that he felt that night when Naruto was born. All the way across the village, the moment Naruto was born, he sensed it. A power raw and primal that could not be leashed. Naruto was something else entirely, and whatever he was seemed alien to their world, as if he didn't belong and was just dropped off here. But all the same, Hiruzen would not abandon Naruto. He might be hands-off and at a distance, but he would not abandon the child, because he knew that Minato would want his son protected, even if his son had killed him. After all, when finding Naruto, he saw him being held lovingly by his father, meaning whatever Naruto had done was forgiven. If Minato could forgive Naruto, then Hiruzen easily could as well. And so, when Naruto showed interest in becoming a shinobi, Hiruzen approved, as he thought it might bring structure to Naruto's life. And with the help of someone wiser, there could be emotional growth. Further still, Naruto would have a way to use the insane levels of strength he had constructively. And so, Naruto was added to the academy. Many of the kids tended to avoid Naruto due to the things their parents had said about him. Naruto was quiet and never really seemed to talk much. Very reserved, he almost came across introverted, though he never seemed nervous in large crowds. It was as if he simply didn't have the desire to connect with people, and Hiruzen wondered why it was. Perhaps on some deeper level he knew he was different and that he didn't belong. Maybe he didn't want to get along with them. Maybe he was happier by himself. Hiruzen once sat Naruto down to ask him about it. Why did Naruto avoid making friends? Naruto took a while to think about it before responding in a voice that was calm and light. "I'm afraid I'll hurt them," he said. That surprised Hiruzen. "What do you mean, Naruto?" Naruto then began to speak. "I have these dreams, and in them I dream that I'm standing above everyone, like some god. But I'm not benevolent. I'm an evil god that demands blood sacrifice, demands that those who worship me be as evil as I am. It's so cold there. I see people my age, adults sacrificing their own children. Some cry when they do it, others laugh." Hiruzen was startled by the detail and savagery, but Naruto continued speaking. "I hate that dream," he said. "I don't want to be like that, but there's something deep inside of me that craves violence. Sometimes when I'm playing, I'll accidentally cut my finger and see the blood coming out. I don't panic. I don't hurt or worry. I'm entranced by it. I feel the urge to put it in my mouth, and when I do, the taste is good. And so I never mind dangerous things, because if I get cut, I can simply lick the wound clean," Naruto said. "I must sound crazy." "No, of course not. You're just young and trying to figure out what to do with your urges. We all go through it," Hiruzen said. "If I don't sound crazy, then why do you look like you're talking to the devil?" Hiruzen had not realized the expression he was making was one of fear and discontent. Hiruzen got out of his chair and walked over, kneeling down by Naruto. "Listen, the fact that this bothers you tells me all I need to know about you. You have destructive urges. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just because of how you were born, who you are, what you're made up of. But even if there's darkness there, I see a glimmer of light inside of you, and that light gives me hope. It tells me that in spite of what you want, there's a good heart beating deep down." "Is it true?" Naruto asked. "Is what true?" Hiruzen replied. "Did I kill my family?" Hiruzen was struck by the bluntness of this question. Who told you something like that?" "It doesn't matter who. Everyone says it. Is it true? Did I kill my mom and dad?" Hiruzen didn't know how to answer. With the state Naruto was in, how could he tell him the truth? But was it wise to lie to him? It didn't matter what Hiruzen said now. His hesitation and the time it took to respond was all Naruto needed to know. "It's true. I killed them." "I never said that," Hiruzen replied. "You didn't not say it," Naruto responded. "If everyone says it's true, and you, the most honest person I know, doesn't deny it, then it must be true." Naruto's face remained the same as it always was, but for the first time since he found Naruto in Minato's arms that day, Naruto shed tears. "I really am the devil, or at least his son." Hiruzen pulled Naruto into his arms. Despite Naruto's obvious fear of himself, he was still pushed into a team with Kakashi by Hiruzen. Alongside of him, he had Sasuke and Sakura. Sasuke was dark and brooding, which seemed to match well to Naruto's own passive, depressing personality that seemed stoic over all the good or evil he was capable of. Sakura was the only bright spot. Hiruzen had hoped that maybe this structure would be good for Naruto and Sasuke, allowing them to have someone they could connect with, as well as having two fairly chipper people capable through either pure energy or sarcasm of making anyone smile. But it was obvious to Kakashi that Naruto and Sasuke were quite troubled individuals. Sasuke by the things he was a victim of, and Naruto by the things he was perpetrator of. Their first training exercise was a bust, as Kakashi had hoped that Naruto and Sasuke might work together to get the bells. Naruto, the moment the objective was given to him, blitzed Kakashi with a speed that he could only say was like Minato's, yet derived from a completely separate source. "I got the bells," Naruto said simply as he held them up to show Kakashi. "What's my next objective?" Kakashi looked around. Make sure we can't get them back from you," Kakashi said, trying to ensure that the game could continue. He decided to turn it into capture the flag so they could at least have fun, but when Naruto heard what his new objective was, he threw the bells to the side and destroyed them with a ki blast. "I have completed the objective. You may now no longer retrieve the bells from me." Sasuke and Sakura just stared at Naruto, who now stared at Kakashi. Kakashi spoke. Why don't we just take the rest of the day off and just, I guess, look at the clouds and see what we can make out of them? It was obvious that Kakashi was not prepared for something like this to happen. And so, as the three looked up at them, he spoke. Look at that one. It looks like a dog, Kakashi said, pointing at it. Sakura raised her hand. Look, that one looks like a toaster and some bread, she said, pointing at another. Sasuke wasn't even paying attention, trying instead to sleep. What do you see, Naruto? Kakashi asked. He pointed straight up. That one looks like a mountain, he said. Snow-capped. Cold. I'm below the surface. It's so cold. My chest hurts so bad, he said. Kakashi looked over at Naruto to see his eyes were intense, as if remembering some old battle. What's going on? Madara asked. Why is he remembering things that didn't happen to him? Fu pushed his glasses up and paused, pulling up diagnostics. Typing into it, he began to speak. It's possible that I might have added a bit too much of Broly's DNA into him. There seems to be some form of bleeding effect. I don't understand, Madara said. Have you ever heard of the theory of genetic memory? Fu asked. Madara shook his head. It's been postulated through scientific communities that some of these strange traits and mannerisms we inherit from our parents are caused by our genes possessing subconscious memories from their lives. But it's unusually strong in Naruto. This could have something to do with his status as an Ashura reincarnate, or perhaps because Broly's genes are just so strong. Perhaps a mix of the two. So, what does this mean? Madara asked. It means that Naruto subconsciously knows that Broly is one of his genetic parents, and that the power inside of him is subconsciously speaking with him. It's not too unlike how Bio Broly seemed to recognize Goten and went on a Kakarot rage, despite not being the Broly that was obsessed with Goku. I never did care much for the scientific side of these things, Madara said. Well, I'm sure there's someone out there who cares to hear these things, so I might as well explain it to them. Anyway, let's continue with the experiment. Fu went to hit the play button, but stopped. Oh, by the way, you owe me 20 zeni. What's the exchange rate on that for Ryo? Madara asked with a smile, knowing that there was none. The first real mission Team 7 was to go on together was a journey to the Land of Waves. Escorting Tazuna to his location, Tazuna asked Kakashi something. Is it common for Konoha Genin to be so quiet? He asked. Generally not, but my team is, more professional, he said, trying not to let Tazuna think Naruto and Sasuke were weak. As they walked, the demon brothers suddenly appeared from a puddle in the road, their chained gauntlets gleaming in the light. They rushed toward Naruto, who was closer to them, and proceeded to wrap him up in their chain. They began to pull with an evil smile, planning to cut him in two. Kakashi moved to help, but stopped when Naruto simply flexed through the chains, causing them to snap. The demon brothers fell to the side. Gozu fell towards Sasuke, who instantly knocked him out with a kick to the face. Naruto approached Meizu, his face filled with dark determination. He grabbed Meizu by his throat and just stared into the man's startled eyes. Despite his legs still being able to touch the ground due to Naruto's smaller stature, he couldn't get any traction as Naruto's tight grip was starting to cut off circulation. He squeezed tighter and tighter. Meizu felt the vertebra in his neck beginning to separate from each other. Naruto, Kakashi called out. Naruto looked back. That's enough. Naruto pushed his hand forward and threw Meizu into a tree, leaving him there unconscious. Looking at Tazuna, Kakashi knew that there was no way he could get Tazuna to think this was normal. Kakashi began to consider taking the team back, but Sasuke bucked against it. We can obviously handle ourselves, Kakashi-sensei. None of us need to be babied. Kakashi looked to Naruto for a moment. Babying you isn't the only reason I want to take you all back. Ignore it, Kakashi. Naruto's strong, and in the shinobi world, that's what matters most. Is that what you truly think, Sasuke? Kakashi asked. Sasuke nodded. Kakashi sighed. Fine. If you want to keep going, let's keep going. Going deeper, they'd be stopped by Zabuza. Kakashi tried to stop his team from engaging the swordsman, but when Kakashi was captured, he had no choice but to watch as his team came up with a plan. Or more like, they didn't come up with one. Naruto simply held his hand forward. He began to fire ki blasts at Zabuza. Zabuza tried to slice them apart, which mostly worked, but at the rate Naruto was firing, there was no chance he could hit them all. And so, eventually, Zabuza was struck by a blast and thrown back. Laying there unconscious, a hunter nin of Kirigakure showed up to take the body. Kakashi immediately knew there was something wrong here due to how the hunter didn't dispose of Zabuza then and there. And apparently Kakashi wasn't the only one who thought this. "I didn't hit him with enough force to kill him," Naruto said simply. This only reinforced Kakashi's belief. So, making it to Tezuna's home, Kakashi needed to rest, but for training, he would have Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura attempt to learn proper ki control by teaching them how to walk across vertical and liquid surfaces. Sakura understood it well enough, though Sasuke had much more trouble. When Naruto was asked to do this, he questioned why he needed to learn such a useless technique before simply hovering in the air by his ki alone. "I can do it without touching any surfaces," Naruto said. "Does this suffice?" Kakashi threw his hand into the air as if washing his hands of Naruto. "Do whatever then," he said, returning to the home of Tezuna. Soon after, when Kakashi was feeling better, he followed the group to the bridge. There, he and the others waited. It wasn't much longer after that Zabuza and Haku appeared. Naruto saw Haku approaching and knew the intent behind it. He went to approach them, but Sasuke held out his hand to stop Naruto. "No, I'll take Haku," he said. Walking forward, he went to face him. Naruto stayed behind to let Sasuke do his thing, opting simply to watch intently. For some time, Haku and Sasuke fought. This continued until Haku formed the demonic mirroring ice crystals. "Go help him!" Sakura shouted at Naruto. Naruto decided to do so, but stopped when Sasuke commanded Naruto to stay back. Despite the fact that deep down Naruto was worried for Sasuke, he obliged Sasuke's request. Sasuke attempted to try to find a way to break the technique, but Haku was just out of Sasuke's skill level. Naruto, watching, was about to help regardless of what Sasuke said, but before he could make the decision to go, Sasuke was struck by Senbon. Sakura gasped in horror. Hardly able to move, Sasuke was struck again and again until he fell forward. From here, Naruto could sense Sasuke's chakra signature slowly depleting until it could no longer be sensed. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw it. "Sasuke?" Sakura began to cry, hitting her knees, screaming in horror and sorrow. Haku turned Sasuke on his back with his foot to check him. Sasuke wasn't moving. Haku looked to Naruto. "Your friend was an honorable warrior, but now he's gone. Give me the old man and I will not harm anyone else." These words shattered something within Naruto, like a sledgehammer on ice. Or perhaps something in Naruto shattered the ice in response to these words. Whatever it was, Naruto was angry. Far angrier than he had ever been. He had not been close with Sasuke, but secretly Naruto always hoped to be good friends with him. Naruto had stayed at a distance because he feared his own power, but now, because Naruto had been at a distance from him, Sasuke was dead. Feeling as though this were partially his fault, Naruto's expression changed in a meaningful way for the first time in quite a while, and right now, he was filled with rage. It was as if an angry mountain god inside of him had awakened and was now ready to demand its blood sacrifice. Naruto's entire body trembled with rage, and what he didn't realize was that the whole bridge, the ground, the water below was all shaking in accordance with his power. Haku was shocked, and even Zabuza and Kakashi stopped their battle for a moment to look at Naruto. Naruto slowly stepped forward, pace by pace. The skies above began to form thunderclouds. "You killed Sasuke," he said. "You killed Sasuke," he said again. "You killed Sasuke," Naruto shouted. Suddenly, his energy flared, ripping his shirt to pieces, the seal on his abdomen now exposed, glowing bright red, as if it were desperately trying to hold on to this runaway reaction of power. Kakashi saw it and knew what was about to happen. Naruto's hair turned up, and in a moment he managed to shatter through the 5-element seal, completely destroying it and forcing the 8 trigrams to give some leeway if it wished to remain intact. This caused Naruto's hair to turn a dim blue that seemed almost unnatural, his brows and eyes taking on the same color. "I'll kill you," he said. His muscles puffed up as Naruto rushed in, running straight through the mirrors. Haku threw Senbon at Naruto, but Naruto knocked them to the side with a chop. Haku retreated into a mirror. Naruto didn't stop his forward momentum and burst right through it. However, Haku had already moved to another. Naruto, stepping back into the circle, saw Haku and fired a ki blast. The mirror also shattered, but Haku then appeared in all mirrors. Naruto, angered, clenched his fists as his entire body began to glow. Letting out a roar that shook the heavens, he fired off ki blasts in all directions, smashing as many a mirror as existed until he hit one with the real Haku in it, which ejected Haku from the mirror. Haku was knocked back. Naruto began to grow closer to Haku, but Haku weaved hand signs, summoning the water below to form ice spikes that pierced through the bridge and attempted to hold Naruto in place. Naruto was caught by the pillars of ice, pinned. As he stood there and looked at Haku, Haku began to speak. "Stop resisting. I don't want to kill you." Naruto began to laugh at this statement, his face slowly turning back to pure anger. "That makes one of us," he said. The pure force of his ki melted through the ice, setting Naruto free. Haku gathered the moisture in the air with water release and then froze it with ice release to create spears of ice that he then began to fire at Naruto. However, Naruto just began to strike them as they came through, punching them, shattering them before they could do any lasting damage. Haku stood there, shocked. Naruto looked down at his knuckles, which were bleeding from his striking of pointed objects. Even if he had coated them with pure fighting spirit, they were still bleeding, but this didn't disturb him in the slightest. Smiling like a child that had just discovered a secret candy stash, he proceeded to lick his knuckles clean, leaving a crimson mark on his face from where he pressed his fists to his cheeks to lick them. Haku was horrified. Nearly out of tricks, Haku tried to create shadow clones to protect him. Naruto took this as a chance to get all of his aggression out. He rushed at the shadow clones and smashed one with his fist so hard that it poofed away immediately. He then grabbed the ankle of another and began to use it as a weapon to beat the other shadow clone until they both disappeared. He then grabbed the real Haku by the face and smashed him into the ground, over and over and over again. Gripping Haku by his foot, he raised him over his head and whipped him into the ground. Haku was bleeding profusely. Naruto lifted him up over his head and grabbed his feet with his left arm and his arms with his right arm. Laying Haku across his neck, he began to pull the arms and legs together, trying to snap Haku's spine. Haku cried out, asking Naruto to please stop, but Naruto was fresh out of mercy and wasn't planning on getting any more in stock anytime soon. He kept squeezing until an unholy crack could be heard, supplemented by Haku's muffled cries. Naruto kept squeezing to ensure that the spine was broken. Pulling Haku from his shoulders, he gripped him by the throat and held him over the side of the bridge. Haku was hardly conscious. "I hope nobody remembers you," he said with a grin of pure evil. He squeezed the throat tighter and tighter until it too snapped. He then dropped Haku's limp body into the water below to sink beneath the waves. Turning back, Naruto saw Zabuza and charged. Before Zabuza could retaliate, Naruto flew straight into him like a rocket, grabbing him by the hips and flying up into the sky. Taking the blade from Zabuza's hand, he flew straight down into the water below and stood upon Zabuza. Raising the blade high, he plunged it deep into Zabuza's chest. Air escaped Zabuza's mouth along with a short-lived muffled cry. Naruto kept pushing the blade deeper and deeper, piercing clean through him. He pushed it until the blade pierced the ground. He looked deep into Zabuza's eyes, still aware, and simply pushed off of him. Zabuza's death was at hand, but would he leave it up to Zabuza how he would die? Would he hold his breath and bleed out, or would he simply take matters into his own hands and breathe in the water and drown himself? Either way was a horrible way to go, but he was getting a twisted satisfaction from forcing the man to choose. This is what he deserved. Rising into the air, Naruto began to laugh, having forgotten the reason entirely that he had snapped. By this time, Sakura had ensured that Sasuke was alive, and now Sasuke was looking up at Naruto in fear. Kakashi stood there on the bridge, hand behind his back. "Naruto!" he shouted. Naruto turned back at the call of his name. "You don't deserve to use that name," he said. "Bow down," he commanded. Kakashi shook his head. No, the real Naruto would never ask something so petty. "You've never known the real Naruto. Now, bow down to me. Offer me your worship, and maybe I'll spare you." "I take it you'll kill me if I don't bow down?" Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded. Kakashi spoke. "Then I definitely won't bow down to you." Naruto's smile turned to a sneer. Landing on the bridge, he drew closer to Kakashi. "You defy me. You can't touch me. You can't even draw close to me. When I ask you to do something, it is a command. You do not have a choice." "Everyone has a choice, Naruto. That's why free will exists." "You should use your free will wisely," Naruto said as he stood before Kakashi. "Now, kneel." Kakashi shook his head. "You'll have to kill me." Naruto's face grew angrier. "Then that's what I'll do." Naruto stepped forward and attempted to strike Kakashi, but Kakashi opened his Sharingan and ducked below the blow. Revealing his hand to have the 5-element seal, a seal taught to him by Hiruzen for just such an occasion, Kakashi pressed it into Naruto's stomach to replace the one that Naruto had broken. The blow passed straight into Naruto's very soul. He gagged on the air in his lungs as it escaped his mouth. Unable to take a deeper breath, the seal locked in. Kakashi poured as much chakra as he could in to help it get a foothold against his power. Naruto's hair lowered and returned to its standard color, as his muscles receded to their natural state. Naruto's eyes rolled up into his head as he fell forward against Kakashi's arm. Kakashi looked at the bridge and the damage and knew what could have been. He looked back to the bridge workers. "I'm sorry about this," he said. And from there, they decided to head back to Konoha. All the while, Kakashi wondered what they were going to do with Naruto. I think I'll call it here for the day. I've always been a big Dragon Ball fan, and as cliche as it seems, Broly was always my favorite character. While I like the new Broly that was brought into Super by Toriyama himself, I can't lie that the Broly I loved most was always Z Broly. With his power tripping and one-liners, I couldn't deny that he was the epitome of what a Z villain should have been, and found myself unable to find another villain in the movies with that much aura. I thought it would be interesting to see what I could do with a power like Broly's if given to Naruto. I hope you all enjoyed this quite a bit, but you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for us to help support us. Be sure to leave a comment below and share this video around to let us know that you really liked it and would like to see more of it. I really want to make sure more parts of this story are made, but I need you guys to be just as enthusiastic about it, so show your support by doing all the previously mentioned things. And feel free to show some love to these videos too if you feel like you'd like a little more entertainment. Until next time, peace out.